Well, folks, I keep asking myself every day, how in the hell is this America first? We listened to Donald Trump on the campaign trail. We paid close attention to him. We hung on his every word. I think we definitely hung on his words way more than the casual voter did. His diehard cult members, they're just caught up. The Kool-Aid's kicked in. They're at the acid party. They don't even realize the world they're in. So anything he says, they're just going to cheer for blindly. I feel like a lot of the casual voters thought that people like us were being hyperbolic. They thought people like us was trying to create hysteria. And they also just thought that things like this would never happen here. It was always like, I don't think they would let him do that. I don't think that he's the kind of guy that would do that. And we tried every way in the world along the way. I mean, we broke out Project 2025. We printed it off. We read it out loud. We brought guests on the channel. We explained what was going to happen. Now it's all happening right in front of our faces. But one of the biggest things that Donald Trump ran on was America first. I'm going to put America above everything. And all we heard was about all the money that was being sent to Ukraine. And if we just had that money back that was being sent to Ukraine, we could use it to help Americans. That's what the Republicans would say. The only problem with that, it sounds good when you say it out loud. If we had that money, we could help our own. But then they refuse to help their own. As a matter of fact, the only people that the Republican Party are going to bat for is their fellow billionaire buddies. They do not give a damn about the working class. They do not give a damn about the farmers. And they do not give a damn on keeping their word, because after all this time of bitching about the money we sent to Ukraine, they've now doubled what they're going to send to Argentina, and they're sending $40 billion, and that is taxpayer money. So how in the hell did we go from that to... How do we go from America first to this article that I'm about to read you here from the Associated Press? And again, thank y'all so much for supporting what I do here on the channel. I truly do appreciate y'all for sticking with me. It doesn't cost anything to hit that subscribe button. So if you haven't already, we're trying to make it to 1 million. So I would love to make it there by the end of the year. But if not, we'll make it soon. We were at 500,000 before Trump took office, so we've gained over 350,000 just since January 20th. It's a huge feat, and I'm truly proud of it, and I'm truly thankful to all of you for helping me to build this channel and build this community, because that's what we are, and we have to keep calling this stuff out. And all of your friends that screamed America first and we want the money back from Ukraine, they need to read this article from the Associated Press. The U.S. is working on doubling aid to Argentina to $40 billion by tapping private funding sources. So, the Trump administration is looking to provide an additional $20 billion in financing for Argentina through a mix of financing from sovereign funds and the private sector. That would come on top of a $20 billion credit swap line that the U.S. Treasury pledged to the Argentine president and his government this month to bolster the South American nation's collapsing currency. We are working on a $20 billion facility that would complement our swap line with private banks and sovereign funds that I believe would be more focused on the debt market, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told reporters on Wednesday. He called it a private sector solution and said many banks are interested in it and many sovereign funds have expressed interest. So at a White House meeting Tuesday with the president, Republican President Donald Trump said his administration wanted to help our neighbors with the aid package, but he also suggested that the money could be pulled from the president's party did not prevail in the October 26 midterms. If he loses, we're not going to be generous with Argentina, Trump said. The Argentine peso weakened slightly Wednesday after Trump's comments. The peso depreciated 0.7% with the dollar, and the currency Argentines rely on to save, trading at 1,395 pesos compared to 1,385 pesos on the previous day. On Wall Street, shares of major Argentine companies rose slightly after dropping as much as 8.1% Tuesday upon Trump's comments. In Argentina, the opposition's criticism was swift. The former president, who is under house arrest after corruption conviction, wrote on social media, Trump to the, I can't pronounce the president's name down there, but Trump to him in the United States, our agreement depends on who wins an election. Argentines, you already know what to do. So Martin Lusto, I guess how you say that, the president of the centrist Radical Civic Union, said Trump doesn't want to help a country. He only wants to save the Argentine president, and that nothing good can come from this. So here's another name I'm having trouble with, but we'll say Ferrara. The head of the opposition of the Civil Coalition called Trump's comments a blatant act of extortion against the Argentine nation. So, again, I would just like to say to everyone out there who went on about Trump being America first and, making sure that all the money went to help us, how the hell is this helping us? Today, I would like to talk to you about IndaCloud, because so many people reaches out to me and says, Brando, how do you go about unwinding after such a stressful day of covering the news? I mean, these headlines we're reading these days will absolutely make your blood boil. So what do you do to unwind? Well, recently I was turned on to IndaCloud, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it. IndaCloud is a fully legal online dispensary. No cards, no dispensary runs, no mystery gummies from a friend's cousin. They've already delivered over 10 million gummies, mountains of flour, and enough pre-rolls to get through another election season. Every product is tested in DEA-certified labs and shipped straight to your door discreetly. Folks, there was a time in my life when I partied pretty hard, and now those days are behind me. I just want to unwind and relax, and I want to do so without sitting there and doom scrolling on my phone for the rest of the night. What I've learned using IndaCloud is that I can sit there, relax, put on some good music in my headphones, and then end up having a good night's sleep, which is much needed. Looking for better sleep? They got a gummy for that. Need to take the edge off without a hangover? You want something stronger? That's where Beast Mode Collection comes in. Still legal and still tested. And if flour is your thing, IndaCloud does exclusive deals year-round. No gimmicks, no fine print. It's federally legal THC made simple. If you're 21 or older, head to indacloud.co. Use code Brando for 30% off your first order plus free shipping. That's indacloud.co, code Brando, 30% off, free shipping, and less stress delivered to your door. Support the show by filling out their quick survey when you order, and thank IndaCloud for making the news cycle just a little easier to handle. And as always, don't forget, please enjoy responsibly. And it's just another one of Donald Trump's many crooked schemes that we see playing out. We also saw him take a jet from Qatar, and now we're seeing Qatar build a military base on American soil. And I have seen social media influencers that are right-wing as can be, ones that I have disagreed with so strongly I wouldn't even stitch their videos to give them credit for it. But I have seen them come out and say, this is a bad move, this doesn't look good on us, this is not America first. And the truth of the matter is, folks, everything that Donald Trump ever preached, he never meant it. And we're seeing that unfold. It was never about putting America first. It was about putting Donald Trump first. When it came time to take the jet from Qatar, after he criticized Qatar for years and said they were the funders of terrorism, after he said that, when a new jet got put in front of him, suddenly he said, I would be stupid not to take it. There is not a world in which a Democrat could have took that plane and people said the same about them. There's no way that a Barack Obama could have took that plane and someone said, well, you know what? He'd be stupid not to take it. And even I, who voted for Obama, would have said, wait a minute, I don't think you should take that because they're a funder of terrorism and because you can't trust them. And what if the plane is bugged? What if they're listening in on everything that you're saying? And what are they going to want in return? And, oh, gee, we're going to have a military base on American soil? I have always wondered what it would feel like to live in these other countries and see our troops walk in the streets. I always said back years ago when George W. Bush was talking about going to Iraq, he always made it out like the Iraqi people were just tickled to death to see us coming. And I just never bought that. I never bought that they were happy to see us coming. I mean, I'm sure some of them got along with us because they knew that they had to. But I just know that no matter how crooked or no matter how evil Donald Trump may be, I wouldn't want a foreign nation coming in here. See, what I was hoping would happen is I was hoping that we would have enough people show up at the polls to vote to make sure that this madness never, ever happened again. But there were a whole lot of people didn't show up this go around. A whole lot of people stayed home. And here we are now with Trump 2.0, and he's doing anything and everything he wants to do, and he can because he managed to pull off getting immunity from the Supreme Court. So he's got that in his back pocket. And when you give a criminal who is hell bent on getting revenge and retribution immunity, I mean, think back to whatever your favorite show may be. Whether your favorite show was Breaking Bad, your favorite character was Walter White, or you like Jax Taylor on the Sons of Anarchy. Imagine if someone had said to Jax Taylor on the Sons of Anarchy, hey, buddy, you got full immunity to do anything you want to do in little old Charming. We won't bat an eye. Just have a field day. I have a feeling old Jax would have left everybody in Charming laying, don't you? Because that's what would happen if you give a criminal full reins. So none of this shocks me, and it shouldn't shock you. And the ones that I'm seeing go, wait a minute, this ain't what we voted for. I'm saying, yeah, it absolutely is if you were paying attention. He said, I don't care about you. I just need your vote. All he needed to do was get across the finish line. And Project 2025 used him to get him over the finish line. And now they're still using him, even though he's completely losing it. He's completely slipping, and I'm going to be covering that in the next segment. But the dude is completely slipping. They don't care because, hey, Mr. President, sign this before you croak. That's what we're up against. And so this idea that it's going to be America first, no, America is for sale to the highest bidder. So it's hard telling what you're going to see next. And the MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers, they've already accepted it. So there will be no reasoning with them. But we have got to figure out a way to reach the people who are apolitical, to reach the people who don't always vote, and let them know, hey, these things are happening and they're not normal. And it's crazy to me that we're even having to have these conversations. I miss some of the old political arguments we used to be having. And back then, I thought those were rough. But we have graduated now to a class that I never wanted to make it to. I didn't want to be sitting here with a criminal running the country and doing anything he sees fit, and we're just supposed to sit back and take it. And then you have people who just will not go hard in the paint and not go hard enough at them. And it feels to me sometimes like social media influencers and independent media are going harder than the mainstream media because they've normalized and same-washed all of this. You know, I saw the article about, or I heard about it. I didn't read it myself, but I heard some of my friends talking about the article that criticized Joe Biden and blamed him for Donald Trump getting elected a second time. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that Joe Biden has none of the blame. I'm not going to say that. I do believe when you lose an election, yeah, you absolutely do shoulder some of the blame. But I put a whole lot of it on the mainstream media who absolutely went out there and same-washed Donald Trump every step of the way and gave him a microphone and a platform to spew his lies and never one time fact-checked him. So all this stuff that we're now saying, hey, this ain't normal, the mainstream media paved the way for it by making it look normal. And so, you know, I would put a ton of the blame on them. Because it was never, hey, this isn't normal. Hey, this isn't constitutional. Hey, a president shouldn't have immunity. It was like, oh, are we going to allow this? A new move from the Supreme Court? No, it was wrong. But no one would call it out. And now here we are. And how the hell we get out of it? I really don't know. I'm just a person that's reacting to the news and thinking out loud. And all I can say is that I hope we have a midterms, and I hope we have a 2028 election, and I hope we live to see the day that this type of rhetoric in American politics is gone. Because right now, folks, it just does not look good. And again, that's not me trying to bring down the room. I want to see this country do good, and I want to see this country be what it was intended to be, and I want to see people be free. And I want to see a president that stands up for everybody and not just those that praise him. And I really, truly don't think that's too much to ask.